welcome back, and I'm really excited for this series. I talked about this series and asked you guys in my palette collection video if you would want to see a series of short tutorials on how you can incorporate fun pops of color in your everyday eye looks. And I was like, yeah, that'd be great, because there's certain ways that I love wearing color that I think are just very conducive to bring in and really spice up a look. So I'm starting off today with the Chocolate Bar palette, which is one of my all-time favorite summertime palettes. It's so good. So guys, I hope you enjoy this look. I hope you want to see how I created this look, but stick around and I'll see you after. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and show you how to get this really pretty bronzy eye with a pop of color in it. So I did prime my eyes just with my my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer every freaking time, guys. And then I just went over it with a little bit of my NARS Crystal Powder just to set everything. So we can go ahead and jump in. And again, we are using the Semi-Sweet palette from Too Faced for this tutorial. Guys, I love this palette. This is one of my favorite summertime palettes. It's just absolutely beautiful, and I feel like it does not get the love it deserves. I mean, you know, different strokes, different folks, but I like this one is quickly becoming equal with the original Chocolate Bar, and you guys know I love that palette. Alright guys, I'm going to start off with my BRC S02 brush, and we're going to go into this shade right here called Coconut Cream. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this to, I'm not going to put it on the eye that I already have shadow on. I'm just going to set the priming that I've done, and just this is going to help cancel out any remaining redness or discoloration that I have. It's got a little bit of a yellow tone to it, which if you guys have watched me before, you know I like a little bit of a yellow tone to set my eyes, just because I do get some sallowness and some discoloration, and I feel like this just helps brighten everything up. And I like to be really generous with those shadows right on the inner corner, because I do get a lot of darkness there, so I like to just start off on the right foot by really putting a lot of the color down. Alright guys, since we're doing a smoky eye today, I know I normally go in with a transition shade, but we're going to do it a little bit backwards, but that's okay, just roll with me. So going into the palette, I'm going to go into this shade right here called Truffled, which is a beautiful warm matte brown, and I'm just taking this on a Mash flat shader brush. And again, I'm not going to put it on the eye that's already done. And I'm just going to start very, very liberally just placing the shadow on my lid. It's a mess right now, that's okay. We just want to place color. I mean, you know, you want to be a little precise in how you're doing it, but if it's not perfect, that's okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Wet n Wild eyeshadow, fluffy eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of Nougat right here, which is this beautiful kind of warm, almost pinky beige. It's like a beigey pink type of color. And I'm just going to start working that into the transition. It's going to start softening up some of those edges a little bit and warming up into that, I can never remember, Coconut Cream shade. So we're kind of working backwards. I know I usually start with my all over color and then I'll put my transition down, but we're starting with the lid color. It's kind of how I like to do my smoky eyes. I like to start with that deeper base. Alright, so once we've got that down, I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that Nougat shade, but I'm going to mix it in with a little bit of peanut butter. So really lightly, because I want to start bringing up some of that warmth into the transition. Those two together are just beautiful. Okay, turn down my light a little bit. I feel like I was getting washed out. Now I'm going to pick up my BR250 from Coastal Scents, and I'm going to go back in with that Truffled shade. And I'm going to start really working on kind of evening out this color a little bit and then bringing it up. This is the best crease brush ever. I just love it. And it's like $3. So good. Guys, I can't even tell you how good it feels to be back on camera right now. I don't know if this is the first video y'all are going to see of me, but this is the first video I filmed in a while where I have been able to actually, you know, knock on wood, get through it. I'm just gonna work that up into the crease. I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but you know, again, I want to share some tips and tricks with you. I feel like when I do a smoky eye, a lot of times the color loses intensity in the crease if I'm not putting like a deep dark black in there, just because I have texture in there, and I feel like that texture kind of interferes with the depth and the consistency of the smoky eye up into the transition, so it looks a little weird sometimes. Let me know if you guys have that same problem. So I like to go in once I put that color down and really concentrate it in that outer portion. Peta doesn't know how to cat, guys. He's a lover, not a skilled cat. Treats and pets is all he knows. So I like to really concentrate it in there just to add some consistency, so you get a nice fade from really dark to really light. So if you have that problem, you know, once you lay down the color with whatever kind of flat brush you're using, go back in with your crease brush and really just intensify it. And it takes a little bit of time, but I think it really helps with the final look. All right, now that we've got that color where we want it, I'm gonna go back in with my fluffy brush, because what I wanna do is really make sure that transition is solid. So I'm gonna go back in with nougat and peanut butter, because it's really, makeup looks are all about finding what method of application, what brushes, you know, what works best for you. I'm never happy with my blend, like ever. Like I always look at it and I feel like I can go back and do it better. So I try and just layer and, you know, apply color, blend it out, apply some more color, blend it out. And that's just kind of how I am. So I know that sometimes what I do can seem a little excessive. It's just, that's just kind of how I roll with my makeup. I'm gonna go back in with my BRC S03 and a little bit more of that coconut cream shade. I love this type of brush, because what I'm gonna do is go in and just, you know, reiterate my highlight. Because if you're like me, it's very easy to get your smoky eye up too high, which is going to make your eye seem smaller. So I like to try and make sure I'm concentrating the intensity of color lower down. But I love placing the color, like, you know, just flat, and then I'll flip it going kind of vertically to my eye, and just, again, just another method of blending it out and making sure everything looks smooth and blended. My camera does not want to focus today. And again, I'm just going to go in with that BR250 and again, just do some more blending. All right, now what I'm going to do, and I kind of changed my mind a couple of times on how I wanted to do on my lid. So at first I went in with this caramel shade and it just wasn't giving me the smokiness that I wanted. So what I did is I went back and I layered frosting over top of it. So it's got a little bit of that gold and I think that really beautiful kind of summery vibe. But I want both eyes to match. You can definitely just do frosting just to kind of keep it that deep, dark, bronzy. But since I did the caramel on this eye first, I'm gonna do it on this eye as well. And I'm just gonna go back in with that same mash brush that we used at the beginning. And I'm just gonna pick up that caramel shade. I'm gonna find my setting spray. And guys, again, this is how I like to foil eyeshadow, so I preserve my eyeshadow in the pan. I don't like to wet my brush and go into the shadow with a wet brush. I like to pick up a generous amount on the brush and then spray it down. Once it is on the brush, I just feel like it serves me better as far as preserving my eyeshadow. So I'm just gonna kind of paint this on. This is such a beautiful shade. It was just a little bit brighter than I wanted to go. I was going with more of a, you know guys, when I think of summertime, I think of like sultry, sexy, mysterious type of eye looks. All right, so I've got that on. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to wipe off my brush, and then I'm gonna go into, with that same brush, I'm gonna pick up that frosting shade, which is this beautiful, just deep, warm, chocolatey, bronzy, beautiful color. I mean, it's just like, you look at it and you're just like, yes. So this palette really is stunning, guys. It's so super pretty. Love it. Love that color. So we're going to pick up that color on that brush, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to wet it down. I'm just using my NYX Dewy Finish spray, which is I'm almost out of. And I'm just going to layer that on the right eye. I'm going to layer that over that caramel shade. And that's just going to tone it down a little bit, guys, and make it a little bit more bronzy. I don't want it quite that warm toned. And then what I like to do, guys, again, this is when I foil eyeshadows, I like to apply it wet. I like to go in, pick up a little bit more of the shadow dry, on the dry side of the brush, and then I'll just stamp it on top. And I feel like this is how I get the best impact out of the shadow. And one more time, I'm just going to go in with that BR250 with no more product on it and just soften up any edges. Just like that. I am going to tightline using my Stila Smudge Stick Waterproof Eyeliner in Oscar Fish. Now this one was limited edition, so I don't believe you can get this anymore. It's got a really beautiful kind of warm, yet it's like a cooler warm tone bronze. And I'm just going to tightline with that, and I'm going to line my lower lash line. I'm probably not going to do this on camera because we all know I can't do this on screen, in focus, in frame. I'll be right back. All right guys, so I've placed that eyeliner, that Stila Smudge Stick, on my lower lash line and tightline just to kind of, because when you're doing a smoky eye, the last thing you want to do is have this beautiful intense smoky eye and then see skin in your lash line. So I focus this, you know, kind of just right in my lash line slash tight lining. If you have sensitive eyes, focus it more just on your lash line, and that's going to intensify and deepen up that line. Now I'm going to take my BRC S01, which is just a teeny tiny detailed brush. I'm going to go back into that truffled shade, which is that first shade we started off with. And I'm just going to start smudging out that lower lash line. And again, I like to always kind of connect it up to the crease, make sure it's coherent. Guys, now I'm going to take this little no-name pencil brush and I'm going to go into the shade Peanut Butter, which is this one right here. And again, I'm just going to focus on bringing that smokiness a little bit lower. I think I want to make it a little bit more intense than it is right now, so I'm going to go back and fix it on this eye. And now my favorite brush for blending out the lower lash line is the BRC S06. I love it because it's got that taper to it. It's got a pinched ferrule, and then it's got a nice taper to it. So it's flat, but it's fluffy, and it's perfect. It's nice. I mean, it's got some stiffness to it. It's not the softest brush ever, but it's really good for getting underneath that lash line. So I'm going to go back in with that Peanut Butter shade. And just, it's going to be a lighter, less intense application just to smoke it out. And then I'm going to take that brush and I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that Nougat shade. Oh, sorry, can you see? Right there. Again, I'm just going to soften up the edges there a little bit. Alright guys, now for the lower waterline. I'm going to start off with this Kiss Professional New York Luxury Intense Eyeliner in the shade Mint Green. It's really, really beautiful, and it's going to act as the base for our color. You can definitely, if you don't have watery eyes like I do, you can definitely just do one and done. You know, whatever you want to do, you can use any color for this look. I just like the green with the bronze. I think it's really, really pretty. And because that was not quite as the color that I was going for, I wanted something just a little bit deeper. I am going to go in with Deepen from Urban Decay. Now, these eyeliners generally do not last on my waterline for a very long amount of time, but just for the purpose of this tutorial, and I know a lot of people love these liners for their waterline, I'm just going to show you and show you what it looks like. So just know that this is not something that I would use. I'd probably go in with a different color or a smudge stick, but because I wanted this kind of turquoisey color, this is what I have on hand to really deepen it up, so that's what I'm going to go with. Alright guys, and always, just another thing I wanted to mention is that when you're doing a fun color in your waterline, it's very easy, especially if the liner is very emollient, for it to come down and get on your lashes, which can look a little messy. So I always recommend putting that colorful liner in your waterline and then going in with your mascara, because it just helps to clean it up a little bit so you don't have all that color like falling down onto your lower lash lines. That's just something I do as well, and I don't think I've ever like made a point of talking about it. I'm just going to use my Wet n Wild Mega Length Mascara on my upper and lower lashes. I'm also going to throw on some Demi Wispies, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so that's pretty much everything except for, we're going to just go ahead and finish up the eye look with a little bit of inner corner highlight. I'm going to take my Sephora Precision Shadow Brush and Butter Pecan. I'm just going to pop that on the inner corner, really blend that up. And I'm going to take a little bit of that right underneath the brow bone as well. Alright everybody, so this is the finished look with just a bronze, summertime, very appropriate smoky eye and a fun pop of color using the eyeliner in Deepened from Urban Decay, and the one in Mint Green from Kiss New York Professional. And again, you can use any color that you want. I think this look would be fun with a purple. I think it'd be fun with like a bright blue, maybe even a more like pastel type of color like the new NYX Faux Whites. I mean, you know, use this technique with any type of look. I love using this technique with a dark smoky eye with like a really bright minty green. That's like one of my favorites. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this first tutorial on how to incorporate some fun summer color into your looks coming up over the next couple of months. Thank you so much for hanging out and talking about makeup with me. Be sure to check out my channel tomorrow for the next pop of color tutorial, and I will see you then. Bye guys.